Okay, so basics. Okay, what's a network? Well, a network is a set of computers or devices that are connected by wires, cables, or radio signals, which is how we communicate wirelessly. Okay. And so once they're connected, they all become part of a network. They have to be physically or wirelessly connected, and they have to have software built into them that allows them to communicate as well. So networking has become so matter of fact these days. I actually asked a friend that I'm meeting for lunch, I said, do you have a floppy drive? He says he has one, because I want to be able to show people a physical floppy drive, because I have a USB drive. Probably people have USB flash drives that they own. I don't know if we still have collections of VHS tapes in our homes. Anybody have VHS tapes still? Yeah. And I'm sure you use them every day, right? You know, no, no. And these days, I mean, I don't know when the last time you went to a music store was. Anybody go to a music store to buy a CD or anything? Now LPs are becoming collectibles, so they're a little different. Yeah. So eventually everything we own becomes vintage and collectible. You just have to keep it long enough, right? Well, not everything. Some people. Furniture doesn't always do that well, from what my friends are telling me. But the idea of having networking is that we don't have to physically move stuff around with physical media anymore. We don't have to get a CD and have racks and racks of CDs in our homes and have CD players. I have a DVD player and I've had it for 2 years. I haven't used it in 2 years. I just don't use it. I mean, I just don't use it. It's kind of weird, but that's what networking does. It eliminates the need for a lot of this. It eliminates the need for files. I don't know if you're scanning documents, to replace the paper copies and do away with less paper, but OneDrive and Apple Notes and Google have scan tools that you can just take photos and scan documents. Your camera on your phone is a really high quality scanner. You probably deposited a check remotely. Anybody done that? Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, so they don't even need the physical copy of the check anymore to put the money in your account. So we network so that it eliminates the need for physical media and makes it easier to move things like files and web pages and pictures and images and music and video and other things over the internet, over between things. Now, there's a couple of networks that you already know. Telephone. When you dial a phone number, something happens. You get somebody else's phone rings. When you hear a ring on your phone, somebody dialed your phone number. How did the phone get from the ringtone that's on your phone? How did the call get from you to them? Do you ever think about it much? I
The
mean,
telephone
usually
line.
well, where'd the line go? What if you're using your cell phone and it's not plugged in, doesn't have a real telephone cable, right? How does the call get from you to them?
Wi-Fi.
Well, that gets it from you to your router, but how does it get from your house to maybe England or Mexico or Japan? Kind of an interesting question. We don't think about these things very much because we know how to use telephones so well. They just kind of work, don't they? It's like using a toaster.
Aren't there cables under the sea?
There are cables under the sea. There are connections, but somehow or another, that phone number magically knows to go somewhere else. We have country codes for different phone numbers, right? And that code is used, but we just dial a number and we just assume it's going to connect, don't we? Pretty neat network. It's kind of like magic,
It is magic.
Okay. Power, when you plug something into a wall outlet to plug it in, a lamp, a TV, a radio, your cell phone charger adapter, where is that electricity coming from? Do you know where the electricity in your house that's delivered as of this minute was actually generated and how it got to you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Cables.
but where was the power plant that made it?
It's a couple miles away from me.
Are you
In
sure it was that
Ontario,
one?
in
Would you-
Ontario, nuclear. 60% of our energy is from nuclear in Ontario.
Still,
So does that mean 60% of the time your power in your outlet is nuclear generated and the other 40% it comes from something else?
No,
How
on
do you-
average, I would say, Bob, on average, 60% of my energy is nuclear and 40% is gas. No, Niagara Falls,
Something.
probably water power.
Yeah, but
Really?
you don't know it. Yeah, so somewhere it gets from the nuclear plant to your home, right? Or from the hydroelectric plant to your home, right? You use that every day, right? And
Mhm.
so you're a network expert, whether you know it or not, because you now have told me how you get electricity to your home and how you make a phone call. When you turn on a radio in your car and you're driving, do you listen to radio stations that are broadcasting? Those are wireless networks. They don't have a cable connecting your car to the radio station, do you? I haven't seen one, you know. And I mean, anybody heard of Sirius, the satellite network? Anybody using XM, the Sirius network? That connects up to satellites in the sky.
right.
And I mean, these days, most of us have cable TV, but there are still, you can still get TV reception with antennas if you
Yeah.
want to get a digital antenna. These are all networks, but when we start talking about computers, everybody kind of like goes, like their brain goes crazy, right? But you know them already. These are networks, wireless, wired, cell phones, electricity, telephones, etc. There are networks that carry our voice or carry a radio station or carry a TV show, but there's also networks that carry files of information. Those are data. Okay, so data moves files of information. One of the most popular networks, and it's an industry standard around the world, is called Ethernet. Let me get my Ethernet cable. Okay, this is an Ethernet cable. Okay, you probably recognize them. Okay, an Ethernet cable is set to work a particular way. It has a particular connector on one end and the same connector on the other. And if you have a Ethernet receptacle, you can plug this cable in to two devices and you can connect them by an Ethernet cable. As long as the devices have the connectors, they'll connect. Okay. So Ethernet also includes the ability to connect wirelessly over Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is the technology that Ethernet uses for wireless communication. But there's other networks too. Bluetooth. I have a mouse. It doesn't have a cable. There's no cable around it. It's connected to my computer, so it can move things around. I can move my mouse around on my screen without a wire.